Because everyone you know and everyone you don't are wearing Christmas sweaters, so it's crazy that you won't.
Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of December 13th. I'm Ryan Miller, and the creator, I'm so glad we got him this week, the creator of those Ninja Turtle ornaments himself, Matt Amberg.
That's right. Merry Christmas to the Ninja Turtles and only the Ninja Turtles.
Are those on your tree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, I could understand why you mimight not want to damage them because they are literally the toast of the internet.
Apparently, yeah. They're so dumb. But yeah, no, they've been, I've had them for like 10 years or something. I made them like 10 years ago. I was just, we were at a craft store, I think, and we were buying ornaments, you know, and I saw them and I was like, look at these. They're like the exact color for the Ninja Turtles. And and Beth was like, so why don't you make them Ninja Turtles? I'm like, how the hell would I do that? And she goes, fabric and googly eyes? All right.
I wasn't expecting the story to be even better than the finished that is fantastic. I'm so glad that we brought this up.
Totally stupid, but I love it.
On Book Club for Movies, where we watch one movie a week, make 6 Christmas ornaments. That's the other thing, is there's 6 of them.
There was actually 12. We actually,
okay.
I did have like a full, we had like 2 full sets of them, but like, I think I gave a couple of them away and we broke, like 1 or 2 of them have broken over the years.
But it's too many. Is one of them Slash and or did you put the female Ninja Turtle in there?
They're the Nega Turtles.
Okay. Where we watch one, I can't remember where I left off. One movie a week and then we talk about it. You can
but
too.
But we revert back to Christmas ornaments.
On Facebook and Twitter or patreon.com/bookclub4movies, where we'll shout you out every day of our lives, but also sometimes here on the show. Thanks again to all the Johns. I think I can just say, is that fair enough?
I think
and the Adam.
The Beth.
Do we, I mean.
No.
I feel like you married her, so.
And that was thanks enough.
It wasn't it?
Like, congratulations, honey. I don't need to thank you for anything ever again because I am here.
Oh man, should we? You're right. We should record on Wednesdays all the time. Look at us, 2 days late and
feeling great,
firing on all cylinders. For this week's movie, Silent Night, 2021. Matt, do you have a synopsis for Silent Night? I said that right.
I sure do, and I saw that you had a trouble saying it, and I don't know what I don't know why I said it was a trouble, but I did.
Because that's the trouble I had. No, you're fine.
You had the single trouble. Silent Night coming at you in an hour and 32 minutes, written and directed by Camille Griffin, starring Keira Knightley, Matthew Good, Roman Griffin Davis, Kirby Howell Baptiste, Annabelle Wallace, Lily Rose Depp, Sope Derizu, and Lily Punch. Here is your Book Club for Movie synopsis for Silent Night 2021. As Christmas descends, a family gathers to celebrate life in their mother's lovely country home. Except this Christmas is slightly amiss.
Boy, is it. Hey.
Is it?
Do you want some of the history on this movie?
I love history.
Here it is. It was announced in January 2020 that Camille Griffin would make her feature film debut with Keira Knightley, Roman Griffin Davies, Matthew Good, and Annabelle Wallace set to star.
Well, that is historically accurate. I think
all I got.
Camille Griffin did what she said she was going to do, and if I've learned anything from Camille Griffin, it's that she's not a liar.
Fair. What did she say she was going to do, or what do you think she did, Matt?
Oh, well, she said, I wrote a movie, and I'm going to make it, and I'm going to star people in it. I'm going to get good actors like Keira Knightley and Matthew Good, and this Roman Griffin Davies kid.
I get it.
Yeah. Matthew Good.
All right. And is that the extent of, because you knew about this before I did, I guess I'm wondering how you even...
The extent of my knowledge for this strictly came down to I was in the process of searching for Silent Night, Deadly Night, the series.
Okay, all right. That is
Well, hold on. There's a full story here. You don't need to cut me off like a jerk.
no. I'm
So-
glad that came
no,
in
so-
because I've been thinking about that title as well, having never seen it. But
Okay,
yeah.
so I was searching for those because they're super fun. They actually ended up being on 1 through 4, I think, are on Shudder, and the quality on them is insanely good.
I was gonna say those have to be on Shudder.
They just got there, but they remade Silent Night, Deadly Night in like 2012, and it's also called
Really?
Silent Night, and it has Malcolm McDowell and Jamie King, and it's like way brutal, and it's like it is the most brutal Santa killer movie you've ever seen.
Huh.
But in the process, I had forgotten that was remade, and I started searching for that. And this came up with the cover. I didn't watch any trailers for it. I just saw the poster for it. I saw
Same.
the title on it is ominous. The text on it seems ominous.
Yeah.
The background, like this all seems like it's going to be something. I don't know what. Let's check it out. And at the top of the show, I'm going to tell you and say I'm real glad we watched this movie.
Yeah. Why? No, sorry, that came off a little accusatory or adversarial. That was not my intention.
I am officially changing the title of this podcast from Book Club to Movies to Yeah? Why? I like it. I like why?
For as easygoing as a guy that I am, I need to choose my moments where I do, in fact, challenge and abuse. So, Matt, why? You like this stupid movie?
So, as always, we will get into spoilers here. I'm gonna.
Yeah. In fact, don't even try to not do that. I would say let's just go.
So, number one, this movie is, to me, it was not anything like I expected it to be.
Same.
This was so far off, and it was so pleasantly surprising. I love this movie. So I actually ended up watching it 2 times. So I watched it the first night. We chose to watch it, and Beth she woke up at like 3 a.m. that day. She passed out about 15 minutes in. She just could not.
Wow.
And I was sitting there with my like phone next to me with my notes up so that I could take notes. And I didn't really get a ton down because I was seriously just like, I was in this movie. I was into it. Like every moment of it was interesting. And on my second watch, I did get to take more notes, but I got to tell you, finishing this movie, knowing everything you know at the end of it, this is such a satisfying and rewarding movie to watch a second time, because there is so much going on at the beginning of the movie before things are kind of explained that by the time you get the explanation as to what's happening, you've kind of forgotten all of the things that told you. They told you at the beginning of the movie what this was. I apparently wasn't paying attention.
Oh, wait. They did? Really?
They absolutely, by the time even before the entire family is in the house, they tell you there is something way wrong.
Okay. I mean, I guess I assumed something was wrong, again, from everything you've mentioned so far, the title, even the poster, and even though not knowing, it was kind of like, yeah, there was... In fact, the movie begins with Keira Knightley doing her makeup in the mirror in like a really, to me... I guess this is probably a theme that is propagated since the original, but Sunset Boulevard, right, where she's putting on her makeup in the mirror or whatever it is before she goes completely insane, or has been the entire time. I don't know. As far as a trope being used for, is she insane? What's wrong? Like something, all of that. That was a great way to start. I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's kind of like what is going on. But I didn't know specifically, like you're saying, I'm curious if you're just saying they communicated something was definitely wrong in that way, or if they very specifically say that there is an apocalypse event on the way.
They don't specifically say that, but there's there are breadcrumbs big time into it. So like you said, so one of the things that I love about this movie too is that how it opens up. It opens up with great, beautiful Christmas music that's really slow. Like it's ominous Christmas music, and it's beautiful. And it's great. And it's setting up this household where Keira Knightley's putting on her makeup, and her kid, Roman Griffin Davies, is chopping carrots, and Matthew Good is outside chasing the chickens, trying to get the chicken for dinner. And it's just this wonderful thing. And then we start getting a little bit of a montage here where all of the different people that are coming to the house for dinner we see them in their cars having little conversations
on the way. Yeah.
So they slowly arrive, and the first major breadcrumb you get is from Lily Rose Depp and the conversation that she's having with her boyfriend, Sope Dirizu. So there's a little bit of they breadcrumb tiny bit about there's obviously something very wrong. Those are the first two that really give it out. But then the next big moment that I caught on my, again, second viewing, was when they all arrive, the sister shows up with her husband and their daughter, and the daughter asks about certain like pudding.
Sticky toffee pudding.
Sticky toffee pudding.
Yeah, maybe.
And Keira Knightley says, I forgot to get it. And they say, they tell the husband and Matthew, go get it. And they're like, oh, but the shop is closed. Break the windows.
Okay, yeah, you're making
no. On a second rewatch, this is like, now it makes so much more sense. And if you're paying attention, when they come back, there's a baseball bat and glass all over the back of the van. They clearly broke into a shop.
Oh, I did miss that part.
They clearly stole the pudding, and they grabbed a bunch of it. Of course they did. Like, and he gets out of the van. He's like, that was so exciting. I can't believe we did that. And they were like, yeah.
You're right. Okay, so, that moment I did hit on in the film. Like, by the end, it actually came back. In fact, I don't know if there was something that reminded me of that or not within the actual film, because, yeah, it is that moment. But, yeah, it's because the daughter is also one of those spoiled brats where they're like, oh, we forgot the sticky toffee. So you think they're worried because she's going to explode and because they're afraid of their daughter type situation, And so, yes, the way they talk about it, though, is like, oh, there's a petrol station down the road. It's like, what if it's closed? Well, break in. You think it's about the daughter.
Right.
And then when they come back with literally an armful of sticky toffee pudding, again, I totally missed the glass in the bat.
Yep.
But I didn't think about even the armfuls of it. And until like later when they are talking more specifically about the apocalypse level event, I'm like, oh, they did actually break into okay.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of little things like that. Of course, the discussion, again, going back to, because Lily Depp is really the one that makes us know. She's the one that really, like, because she's the one who wants to tell the kids at the dinner, and she doesn't think we should lie to them and all that. But kind of going back to the initial question that you asked about why did I love this movie? I love this movie because it is just a jet black comedy that is trading that cynical comedy with this underlying horror story that this is. And I absolutely 100% think this quote unquote family drama is absolutely a horror film on every level.
Sure.
If you take this even at just like eliminate the apocalyptic event portion of it and just go with how they're reacting to the end of the world or supposedly the end of the world, it is outrageously funny and outrageously horrifying. And everybody is doing such a good job playing the role that they're given. So you have this like really eclectic cast that you've got the people that one of them is pregnant and she's not ready to kind of give that up. She doesn't know what she wants to do yet. You've got the couple that wants to kind of continue on with their lives. They're also pregnant. She also is not sure what she wants to do. You've got the one sister who is just kind of, it is what it is. Take it as it comes. I love my nephew. You've got mom and dad who are desperately trying to keep on the perfect parent faces in the face of something that you can't imagine trying to explain to children. And then you've got the kids who are all over the place with it. You've got your Roman Griffin Davies knocking it out of the park again. Just that kid's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
be a
good.
fantastic actor all the way through his life, I think, if he wants to. Does a great job being kind of maybe almost the audience's voice, to a point where he's the one that sees how stupid everything is. He's the one that
he's the conscientious objector, or even just the protagonist. Like, we
he
kind
is.
of see most of the story through his eyes, or we follow him, it seems like, for the most part.
Yeah, and we get the story kind of, exactly. And I think that was a brilliant choice, because again, the cynical comedy, all of this stuff, it oozes out of this movie, and all of these actors, especially Keira Knightley and Matthew Good. Like, there is a moment towards the end that we can talk about later if you want, but there is a moment at the end that may be the very best portrayal of a frustrated father I've ever seen in a film or on TV ever.
That was a good moment.
It is
I know what you're talking
the most realistic frustrated father thing ever.
So I say we just talk about it straight up, but I also want to very specifically explain and spoil, and possibly ruin the movie by saying that the apocalyptic event that's coming is like this big poison cloud. And they don't really say how it came about, although I guess it is.
There's a bunch of discussion at the beginning where they argue about the origin, where the little girl and her father believe it's Russians causing this poison cloud.
Okay, that's
true.
And then there was another that was like, it's the Earth fighting back after we've destroyed it, basically. Yeah.
Roman Griffin Davies says we've destroyed the Earth, and this is the Earth fighting back, to which Matthew Good is essentially agreeing with as well. And then, and so we're never given, a true explanation. It's definitely,
which we don't need. I'm not even, it doesn't matter. And this is kind of set up in, I guess, not opposition to, but it really does seem like it. The pill that has been given to them by the government to kind of make it all go easy. Yes.
Die with
dignity. You're right. Isn't that the name of the pill? Is it dignity or something like that?
Something like that. But they actually do say, hold on, I wrote it down.
We see commercials.
There's a commercial
and ads
for it.
Yeah.
And
you look that up, but it's so the two kind of competing deaths are: take this pill from the government.
Take your exit pill.
Exit pill. There you go. To go peacefully, or let the cloud get you. And again, according to what they know, it's a very painful death and
lots of bleeding from the eyes.
Yes.
And the mouth.
Roman Griffin Davis' character Art is sneaking glimpses at the news reports and whatnot that very much talk this up, about how painful it is and stuff like that.
I also wanted to note his name is perfect, especially for the ending of the film. That is not a mistake. That is a very purposeful choice about what he is, what he represents, I think. And I think that's an important aspect of the film is his name being Art.
But go for it.
It just comes. So we get to the point where we're spoiling the movie. The whole concept here is that nobody survives this poison. Sope's character is a doctor. He's seen the pain. He's seen everybody die from it, so he knows what's going to happen. But Roman's character is Art. He is painting this picture. He is the one that's telling us the story and giving it to us. And at the end of the movie, the poignant moment, a poignant moment anyways, is that when everything is gone, man, when we're all dead, the only thing left is going to be Art. That's it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's
I didn't quite make that.
The indelible mark anybody can make on this planet will only be through Art. It's your memory will fade, but the art, whatever it was, will remain in some way. And that's, I think,
Club for Movies will be around long after we've died.
That's hopefully. And, I mean, based on my style, probably soon.
And did you want to fully explain the dad moment as well? Since I feel like I was trying to explain lead up to that.
So the dad moment is throughout the film, it's this combination of the parents going back and trying to deal with the kids and deal with various things between themselves. and then also trying to put on a party and have fun and play games and drink and be merry. So we get a number of this ups and downs, these fluctuations in what's going on and who's getting pulled away from what to talk to who. And at the end, it becomes okay, we're in the following day now. The cloud is coming. We know it's coming. And we actually know because Roman's character went and found something in it, essentially. But he comes home. They take everybody everybody splits off, goes to their rooms, and they're all having their final moments, taking their exit pills or getting ready to. And the two younger twins of Keira Knightley and Matthew Good are waiting for their glass of Coke to drink with their pill.
Right.
and they have to have the amount of soda in them has to match. It has to be perfect. They have to have ice in them. And so
he's like going upstairs and downstairs
like
back and
repeatedly
forth to the pantry to like get more soda. And at one point he knocks a soda off the shelf and puts it back on the shelf, which I'll get to why I mentioned that later. But
and then he the way it's filmed is like the camera is set towards the back of the bedroom facing the bed, and the bed is to the like left of the door. And we see him step out of the hallway and just do the like silent kicking and it reminds me of the moment in The Whole Nine Yards when Matthew Perry goes into the car and flips out. He starts slamming everything in the car. And but it's one of these moments it's so perfect and again, poignant and fascinating and beautiful and interesting because in the face of death, this is their last moments together. He's still dad. They're still kids and they're still having to deal with that dynamic. Even going into this, I'm just trying to give you a pill to go to sleep. Go to sleep. Shut up. Go to sleep. That's all I want.
I finally get to kill you. And this is how, yes. No, it's maybe not even that dark. I'm sorry. In fact, it absolutely is not that dark. Like there's none of that going on.
No.
But
it's that underlying like frustration of just go to sleep. You know,
yes,
it's that
sure. But I think what you're getting at is actually one of my favorite parts of the film is that it is how it plays off normalcy the whole time. Because I mentioned the dad, like when he's going back and forth and yes, he's frustrated and he knocks something off the shelf. In fact, I want to say this happens one other time too, but it happens 20 other times in similar fashion. But he knocks that soda off the shelf and picks it up and puts it back on the shelf. You know, there's a lot of doing things that we just do that they keep doing, even though
none of it matters.
Right. None of it matters, which I guess technically it does when we really spoil this movie. But I did like all of those touches. There are a lot of things that you wouldn't, because what it does is it makes you think what you would do in that situation.
Yeah.
And I think their portrayals are also things that would happen. Like, yes, I get that it might be a little bit dark. They're certainly going for the dark comedy thing too, because most of it's a celebration. Like there's dancing, there's drinking, like they're
playing games.
The games, ostensibly having fun. In fact, one of the more tragic characters is
Kirby Howell Baptiste,
right? Yeah, Kirby Howell Baptiste character, where she's kind of ignored for a lot of the film, and it is just a heartbreaker. Like anytime she's on screen, like she's even left out of the group hug a little bit. You know,
she's
like
so good.
She's also very good. Yeah. Yes. But there's a moment where she grabs Scrabble, I'm sorry, and comes back into the room, and everybody kind of looks at her like, oh, Scrabble. She's like, no, I just like Scrabble. And then, you know, obviously that's not why she got it, because she was hoping, hey, anybody want to play with me? But she ends up just sitting there with it on her lap because, you know, I like Scrabble.
Yeah.
It's something I would do, honestly.
Yeah.
So that is fantastic. There's lots of that normalcy going on. There's, in fact, at one point, is it the art moment where, yes, he does run away and he gets somewhat injured because the cloud passes right through him.
Yeah.
This is a huge moment in the film, obviously. I'm passing right through it. But when he comes back, like the people are worried about him, like, oh, somebody somewhere says, oh, is he going to be okay? Is Art going to be okay? Oh, it's the girlfriend of
Lily. It's Lily Depp.
Yes, thank you. Who is a non-pill There's two non-pill takers here,
Both of them pregnant.
which we got to get into this. Oh, that's not true. Art is not pregnant.
Oh,
Who's the other-
Kirby was not going to initially, and then
Okay.
and then I think she gets forced to, and then she vomits it up, and there's that whole bit where Lily
Yes.
Punch, and that was, holy crap, that was Lily Punch's bit right there when she just looks at her and it's like, we have 5 minutes, was amazing.
Yes. It sets up, I do like also all of kind of the different, siphoned off ways people are dealing with it when we do get alone time with them. Like that all is pretty cool. But again, it's that normalcy thing that I think was my favorite part, where they go about their lives in a lot of different ways, not thinking, what does it matter anymore? And I'm dancing around something that really colored my whole interpretation, enjoyment of the film. And I guess maybe we've gone long enough that I'll just spill it at this point anyways. But the main, like I said, conflict is, are you going to take the pill or are you not? And really, it's a foregone conclusion, it seems like, for most of them, that they're taking the pill.
Well, and they mentioned that at the beginning too. It's something specifically said that they mentioned it actually multiple times. They mention that everybody's made a pact, and
It's one of the purposes of the party, it seems, right?
Yeah.
They've gotten together. They're going to all take it at, in fact, it seems like a certain time. Like there's they don't say what time that is, but there is, at the moment, they're like, it's time. And everybody does appear to take the pill at the same time. But Art is a holdout, and a lot of the back and forth, a lot of the internal struggle that one might have is voiced through Art and his struggle, which is, I think you kind of mentioned this, why it's brilliant having him do it, because he is a child. He would voice concerns in this way, but he also is a conscientious child. So, we get the conscientious objector mixed with innocence in a way that is pretty perfect. And the pregnant girlfriend, I'm sorry, I keep calling it Sope Derisu's girlfriend,
Lily Rose
Depp, you've said her name numerous times. Sophie is pregnant, and in maybe the greatest manifestation of that normalcy thing, she doesn't want to take the pill because she doesn't want to harm her child, which, again, they're going to die anyway. So those are the, and then you're right, Kirby Howell-Baptiste, Alex, she isn't going to take the pill, but then passes out because of drinking. And I think maybe this is a confusing moment for me, actually, because Kirby Howell-Baptiste is going out with Lucy Punch, Bella, and Bella walks into the room and sees her passed out on the couch, and I saw a glass with an open pill box next to it. So I kind of thought Kirby Howell-Baptiste had taken the pill at that point, but it's obviously she hadn't, given what happens next.
Right.
So I was a little confused at that point. But yeah, at that point, Bella gives her the pill while she's passed out, because they made a pact to take the pill at the same time together, whatever. But anyway, this is not even the most important part. Kirby Howell-Baptiste wakes up and I think does take the pill herself.
Well, she vomits, right? and that's what
vomits up the pill that Bella gave her. But yes, did she not take the pill after that?
No,
then?
I don't think she took the second, because I don't think there was another pill.
This is maybe the most dramatic instance of what goes on, which is strange to say given Keira Knightley and Matthew Good's whole family situation. But yeah, she vomits up the pill, and then Lucy Punch ends up stabbing her to kind of go through with the thing, and then they die on the floor together, one of them bleeding out and the other paralyzed by the pill or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm still dancing around it. Matt, this movie might have been halfway ruined for me. I didn't like it as much as you did by the freaking pill thing. Like, and this is one of those rare moments where honestly one thing in a film can really ruin the whole thing. And it's not all my fault. Like, the movie does hang a lot on this pill. So it's kind of like you're going to buy into it and it's going to work, or you don't, and a lot of it falls apart. And I didn't, kind of in a way, for two reasons. Number one, of course I'm not going to take a pill given to me by the government. Like, that's not even a question. That wasn't even like a point of like contention for me. Like, I 1,000,000,000% wouldn't be a pill taker. So no. It's kind of like...
Real quick. Did you get your COVID vax?
Okay.
Did you get your COVID vaccine?
Yes. No, I did. In fact, I'm fully boosted as of a week or two ago.
Just wanted to... Okay.
But that's different from something that they expressly tell you will kill you. Okay, you're right. There's an argument to be made. There, in fact, I would read a paper. I might even write a paper where that very same line is drawn. But in fact, tell me there's a chance the vaccine could kill me. Sure, I'll give you that. Even it's not a chance in this movie. It's take the pill that will kill you.
Well, sure.
And I guess we don't get the background that we would need to make this comparison completely full.
I mean, I admittedly, I think, honestly, I just think it's a bad take, because I think that you're ignoring the actual, like, so they outright talk about it at the dinner table that this is happening. People are dying. Sope's character is a doctor. He sees these people dying all the time. He's a doctor saying, I'm going to take the pill because I don't want to be in that kind of pain. This is not a hidden thing. I understand that, like, yes, of course, it is also, I think, a big question in the movie. I think that's part of the point of the question of the movie.
Sure.
Is
yes.
Do you want to take a pill that is quote unquote an exit pill given to you by the government? It's a valid question. I think the general take you have, I can't agree with at all, because I think it's very obvious why tons of people would take that pill.
Oh, I'm not saying tons of people wouldn't.
And I feel like if that is impacting your enjoyment of the film, I mean, that sucks. But I think that you're passing off the most basic suspension of disbelief on this one to ignore like all of this great family drama and say this movie's I didn't enjoy this movie very much because of the government's pill. Like, I get that it does hang on that. This family, their point is that they came to the conclusion, this is what we're going to do. This is that story. There's another story out there that is definitely this story. I'm not taking the pill. I don't believe in the government. What's the background? What's actually going to happen? And of course, there's question marks, because the end of the film has Art, who was standing. He stood in one of the little tornadoes. He dies essentially in her arms. He's got blood coming out of his eyes and his mouth. And then he wakes up after everybody's taken their pill.
Right.
But we also know, again, the doctor never saw that happen. So Art being, again, this goes back to the whole Art is the only thing that's left. So that's part of it.
Yeah, and that's why I ended with saying we're never going to get enough of the background that we want from this movie. Like, it's impossible to do that. I'm bringing in a life's experience. I'm bringing in, like, I've made this decision and this lands with me in a certain way because of the 40 years up until now because of me. So yes, I'm also don't want to discount the performances and the question. Like, I'm not even, like, when I say I guess maybe saying the movie was ruined for me in that way is a little strong, because it's not like I didn't still enjoy what I said I enjoyed so far, but also some of the stuff you mentioned. Like, in fact, I wouldn't even say it's not worth watching. I'm just saying that, and part of the objection comes from this second thing that is kind of related, I guess, but also if I was in this situation, not only would I not take the pill, here's what I might do. Call me a sheep or not. I might still kill myself in some way, right? I might still find some weird fun. I would have fun with it. I would do something stupid and die. Like, I might not be the guy that just lets the cloud hit me and ends up waking up after, because who knows? Maybe the whole point of this is just that it kills some people and it doesn't kill some others, right? Like, that could be the truth also, right?
That's what it looks like.
So I'm not even saying maybe I would be smart enough to just let the cloud take me. I would certainly do the cloud over the pill 100 times out of 100.
To the cloud.
But maybe also I might kill myself in some different, because that's the other thing. There's any number of ways to kill yourself. I have a hard time believing that.
But again, like I get that you're like, from the perspective you sit in, it's really easy to say, I'd find a better way. I'd find a more fun way, an interesting way to kill myself. Except when you start thinking about that, what's going to be easier? And like, are you ready to potentially feel pain? Are you ready to, it may be the last pain you feel, but do you want to feel that before you die? Like, that's the thing. People, like, a universal truth, people that jump off buildings or jump off bridges, universally, every single survivor that has ever jumped off of something to kill themselves has said, as soon as I jumped, I regretted the choice and I was scared and I didn't want to die. Everyone. That's universal. People that have shot themselves that survived it. Same thing. Like every time a person has tried to kill themselves and survived, even if they've wanted to continue doing it, they have said the way I tried it hurt. And I don't want that. This is like a case of, now, none of these people probably committed or tried to commit suicide, but I think it's like, it's just one of those, when you look at the options that are given to you, sure, shoot yourself in the head. You're probably going to kill yourself. Hang yourself. Sure. You'll probably break your neck or at least you'll strangle yourself. Go sit in a car, midsummer yourself. That could work too. But the reality I think of it all is that when you decide you're going to do it that way, you're being what are you going to do with your kids? What are you going to do with your wife? Are you going to do it in front of them? Are you going to do it for them? Are you going to, how are you, so.
No. And I don't want to discount, like I said, I think the movie is largely successful in all the little vignettes it sets up, because again, I'm not saying I don't understand why any of them did what they did.
I hear you. I
get that I talk a big game. You're right. When it comes down to it, who knows what I would do, but I feel 99% sure, at least right now. And you're right. Kids was a good argument. Good. You're right. I wasn't thinking about the kids. I obviously wouldn't shoot them. I wouldn't. Although there's a point in this movie. Oh,
there's a point where I might.
There's a point in this movie where I wrote it down where I was like, man, this is almost getting to like murder suicide. Conversation in the car where her argument is that the outcome is the same. Art runs off and they take him to the car to talk to him about why he ran off, because he's very out about not wanting to take the pill at this point. And Keira Knightley's argument is that whether or not he takes the pill, he's going to die. And I'm like, well, that's my argument for also not taking the pill. Whether or not I take the pill, I'm going to die. So I guess not that it didn't hit home, but in fact, maybe the opposite. It was a very good explanation of how two people can come to two different conclusions.
Sure.
Because the environment's absolutely the same for these people. It's,
right. But I think that think about it less from Roman's perspective. Think about it more from Keira and Matthew Good's perspective.
Right. Certainly.
They're going to take their pills. They don't want to not take their pills. The other kids are going to take the pills. They have no interest in doing what Art is doing. They're clearly like, whatever Dad's doing, I'm doing. So from the parental perspective, like their entire process, and Keira Knightley, there's the moment early on when she has all the kids and she and her sister are trying to explain how this is the right thing for us to do, and we believe it and we think it's good, and do you know we love you, right? And she's like terrified that they don't know, and he's like, yeah, I guess we know. And then they sit back and they drink and they're like, what are we gonna do? I mean, Art is the kid who is going to go against like as many conventions as he can. He's going to find his own way. But as a parent, there's a point where, yes, you have to let that happen. But when it becomes life and death, how many parents are willing to not at least try their hardest, right? To say, if you don't take this pill, you're going to die a horribly painful death. Or you can take this pill and you can just pass away.
I mean, I guess I would probably give my children, I guess my children, let's just say my children at the age that they are in this movie, I guess even then at that age, I might give them their own choice, especially because, again, supposedly we're all going to die no matter what. Like, I don't know if I would mandate them to take the pill one way or the other. I myself still, I feel like I would be the dude who's like, I'm going to let the cloud hit me. This is the problem too. Yes. Problem with me, not the movie, actually. Art is the idealist, 100%, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. But he's also the protagonist. Like, I firmly believe the movie is communicating that Art made the right choice here. So I at least feel I can identify with the movie, because I also don't think the movie was not concerned with making the case for all of the others, right? Like, it very much sets up those different vignettes and why they're taking the pill and why they're not, even though most of them are. So I certainly identify with Art. I'm the Art that never grew up. Maybe that's why I wouldn't take the pill, because yes, but from what you said, you're right. Like, Matthew Good and Keira Knightley were very possibly Art when they were children, but they grew up and they had kids, and this is what they're doing now. Like, this is this decision. So saying the movie was ruined for me is strong. It's just makes it hard to invest and at least identify or engage with when I am so far on the other side, which seems strange because I'm identifying with Art. So maybe I would invest a little bit more, but again, it doesn't seem like a choice. And Art himself is also fairly, I don't know if he's conflicted, but he's certainly working it out a little bit on screen. He's not completely decided. And he's a kid
because
too.
he's the one who, when we watch the trailer, the commercials for the like what happens and how you die and what the pill is, it's through Art. Art's the one who's
Right.
watching on his phone, and he's like, there's I see what you're saying. I just, like I said, it's.
Are you pro pill? Would you take the pill? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I find the entire situation horrific in every respect.
Oh, sure, certainly.
I am very much a person that I like to see with my eyes. That's partially why I can't go to church. Like I grew up in the church and I can't do it anymore because I can't believe in that. It's not a thing for me.
Sure.
If I saw people hit by this thing and I saw what happened to them, that would color my choices. Would I take the pill? Yeah, I don't know. I honestly probably not. Mostly because of the same reasons, hilariously though, I don't know that I would trust the government to do the right thing in that respect, but I don't necessarily think that it's wrong either. Like the thing is,
no, I guess, yeah, I don't want to say that either.
When Art doesn't take the pill and he survives, everybody else has taken the pill and they've all died. I don't know that that's saying, again, I don't think that's saying Art made the right choice. I think to me, again, it's the literal embodiment of the metaphor. Art is what's left. Like he didn't because when he let's say he survives, he has no family. He's in the middle of the country. Most of the rest of the people in the country are likely dead.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of fun. I mean, that's
and then it asks. I think that's also asking the question: is what is living?
Sure. I mean, one of the great parts about this movie is everywhere it goes afterwards. Like what if Art is the only one that survived, right?
Right.
Like,
that's exactly that's my point. Right.
I mean, there's plenty of fun stuff there, and that's great as far as movie endings go. But I guess it's just hard not to read certainly one of those as Art, our protagonist, our conscientious objector, was right. The whole time. Like
of course.
And I honestly like the other reads because that does seem a little trite and obvious nowadays, like I said. And yes, every one of those reads is there. And like I said, there's plenty to appreciate in the film. Keira Knightley, in fact, if I want to bring it back to the beginning where she is, the whole premise of the film is kind of encapsulated in her putting her makeup on in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like that carries through. And I think Keira Knightley is one of the standout performances because she can do that insane mom pretty darn well for the entirety of the film up till the very end where they've taken the pill already and she's like, oh, I forgot to say goodbye. And Matthew Good's like, doesn't matter, like forget about it, we've taken the pill, like don't get out of bed or you'll end up paralyzed mid walk like
right.
Lucy Punch or whatever. So that's all good, and obviously it's made for a fantastic conversation. This has been a ton of fun no matter what, and I'm not trying to end it even if it sounds like that. So it's worth it. It might have been compounded a little bit too. I don't think the tone completely landed for me. It's a black comedy, so I think those are notoriously difficult, especially if you're not laughing or concerned at some very key moments. I'm not sure that completely landed for me. I don't think landed might even be the wrong word. I don't know if it came together.
Sure.
Because I think that's where black comedies can shine, is where it really is doing two things at once. Oftentimes I ended up confused instead of laughing or concerned. And so it kind of affected the tone overall. I would hope that would be separate from the whole pill, no pill argument in my head. But at the very least, it didn't help, I guess. So,
yeah, this is a movie we obviously diverge on because for me, all of that landed. That like I was laughing throughout the movie. I was chuckling at things, and I think the depth of that is staggering. along with where you talk about how you were confused and you were how you didn't feel it necessarily landed or whatever. For me, I think it all meshed extremely well because of the absurdity of what they're doing. That's where all of the comedy for me, like, it not only Lily Punch number one is or Lucy Punch. What's her name? Lily Punch? Lucy Punch.
Lucy Punch. You are correct.
Lucy Punch. She is very good in everything I've ever seen her, and she's very funny. And she totally has the wryness in this movie. She's kind of the she's got a couple of little facial expressions, little nods here and there. But
Sure.
but it's the absurdity of what they're trying to accomplish with the overall like the world dying around them, and it's coming to them, and it's like, it's not, they even have a clock. They know when it's going to be there because it's this cloud that's just going over the world, and
Right.
and it's like they know the news is telling them, so they're like, we know on the 26th of December, that's when it's going to land for us, and it's going to hit this house.
Which it doesn't technically, because that small cloud passes through Art early. There's a moment where they take him back and they're like, it's not supposed to happen yet. Like, so.
Right. But
Anyway,
I mean,
but yeah, I'm sorry.
But again, the thing is that it's in such a way, it's like watching a sunset. You're just watching something and waiting, and you're just engaging in this is life. This is what it is. And you wait, and then the sun sets and it's dark. And that's what they're waiting for. They're just sitting here like they're killing time as best they can before they all die together. And
Right.
that is heartwarming. It's lovely. It's horrific. It's the like, again, the way they go about it. It's not the cloud isn't the horror part of this movie. Like,
No.
the horror part of this movie is definitely the cavalier attitude and the suppression of emotions of reality. Like,
Huh. That's interesting though, because I don't know if I necessarily saw it like that. Like, part of the reason it rang a little bit more true than not is because I feel like there's a discussion pretty early on. In fact, it might be the main one where we kind of already know what's happening, and it's the first time they've all sat down together in the same room. And Annabelle Wallace's character, Sandra, who is married to Rufus Jones, Tony, but has always loved, and it appears dated at one point in high school, Sope Dorisu's character, James. And there's, up until then, it just seems like she's that type of wife that's like always, in fact, it's played more for comedy at that point, like she's going to flirt with him, all this stuff. She's going to hug him a little too long. And, Rufus Jones is kind of very, a sheepish dude. So he's a little, but when they have that conversation, it's very matter of fact, and they speak openly, like why did we never get together? Like in front of everybody. And whereas normally you'd be like, oh, this is awkward and ha ha ha. Everybody's kind of allows it because they know what's going to happen. Like, even the husband, like, yes, it's a very adult conversation. Like, they object at certain times, like, I don't know about this, or this still hurts maybe, or something, but they're not closed off to the conversation because, again, of what's coming. And to me, it doesn't read as what did you like, nonchalance, or I forget what the word you used.
Well, because they are with the kids. It's not when they're alone, when they're parents, when they're adults. You're absolutely correct. They have their conversations, and there is the serious moments. But with the kids, there is the attempted nonchalance, they're suppressing their emotions. They're pushing that down to make the kids feel comfortable, and because that's what parents do. It's again, it's the watching. You're watching the world come to an end at you. You don't want to necessarily be losing your mind and flipping out. And you don't want to have those serious conversations with 9-10-year-olds, like, what's the point? Especially at that point, what's the point? So I don't think maybe I phrased it poorly, but I think there's the attempt at nonchalance by, like, they're all trying to do it. They're all trying to just be, well, we're here.
You're right. They do that. You're right. They do both. So yeah.
The final thing I'm going to say about this movie for me is this is going to almost certainly roll into my yearly watch list. Like, this goes up there with Rare Exports. It goes up there with Anna and the Apocalypse. and I loved it. It's a Christmas movie, a beyond Christmas movie. I loved the portrayals. I love the performances. The music choices are phenomenal. Loved the music in here. It's all Christmas music, and it's all slow, and it's all like it's great.
Or like overly poppy even sometimes.
Yes.
There's that one song.
The
In fact,
opening
isn't the main song that okay.
It's about Christmas sweaters. And again, setting like when you go back and I'm not going to expect you to do it because you won't.
I probably won't.
But I would implore anybody who has even a modicum of interest in this movie to watch it more than once. The second viewing was so rewarding for me, catching the nuances in different performances, catching lines here and there. Again, the things like the glass in the back of the van and the baseball bat, the stuff that leads into it. Kirby Howell-Baptiste's character, again, when you watch her a second time, and the bit with Lucy Punch, phenomenal. And then Roman Griffin Davies, like, he steals every scene he's in. Matthew Good with that amazing father figure stuff, and Keira Knightley, man, like Keira Knightley knocks out great performances in everything she does, and this is no different. I never considered her as mom because she's extremely youthful looking, and I realized like she's mom age. Of course she is. Why? I'm sure she is. I don't know how old she is.
We're all mom age, Matt.
But she was. I never considered her as mom, but this movie definitely gives her that role. Like I can see her. It's another like tick for her as something she can do. She could be the amazing pirate princess, from Pirates,
right, yeah.
And now we've got her as crazy mom in horror. Like
she could bend it like Beckham.
She bend it like Beckham wants.
What can't she do?
She can do everything. She's Keira Knightley.
All right. Well, it got 9 stars is the crazy thing.
Out of 13.
So possibly check out Silent Night 2021 and email us at podcast@bookloveformovies.com or find us on Facebook and Twitter. In fact, here's a fun question for this one. I'd be curious. Are you pro-pill or anti-pill? The pill from the movie, not the other one so you can't have kids or whatever. I mean, there's lots of different pills. That's the one that comes to mind. I don't know. You think of a pill.
You go to that
what's
one.
Your favorite pill?
Oh, I don't know. I like birth control. I'm a big fan of that one.
Okay, see, we're on the same page here. So, let me know, or Matt, on Facebook and Twitter, or emails, if you're pro-pill or anti-pill from this movie, Silent Night 2021. Matt, do you have any idea what we're going to watch next week?
Silent Night 2012. No. We're only doing Silent Night movies.
Actually, get this. I don't think we're going to do something next week. I don't know what.
Yeah,
it's the week of Christmas, isn't it? No, maybe that's the week before. What are we doing? 15th? No, it's the week of Christmas.
Christmas is on Saturday.
Oh, so it's at the very end of the week. I'll be in Idaho. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
You want to do a podcast, you're going to have to deal with Idaho me.
You're going to have to deal with it on your own.
No. Well,
we need to make soundboards for each other so that we can just do individual shows and then just.
Yeah. What would the one phrase I need from you be to complete an entire podcast with a soundboard?
What's the one phrase you need from me?
There it is, right there. I got it. Okay.
By the way, did you realize that Sope Dirisu was the guy from His House?
Yes.
Okay. Also, good movie. Go back and watch that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Go watch His House. Do you like His House better? I think you probably didn't like His House better than Silent Night 2021. That's my guess.
They're extremely different movies. But yes, I would say I like Silent Night more.
Okay. See, there you have it. Silent Night 2021 is better than His House.
That's exactly what I said.
So come back next week for whatever we decide to do at the very least. In fact, I've got it. If we get lucky, maybe we'll be able to bank a few things here. On Matt, your birthday. My gosh, that's what I should have led with instead of the Ninja Turtles. Happy birthday.
I think the Ninja Turtles are more important and interesting. But thank you. Well,
let's see. Tweet about your birthday, and we'll see which one gets more. No? Okay.
Not doing it. Not gonna do it.
I don't blame you. No. I've long ago, in fact, maybe over a decade ago, the game became how much can I get away with people not knowing that it's my birthday? Like, how much can I fly under the radar? And ever since then, it's been a blast. So
I don't know what your birthday is. Liar. It's in my phone. I have it set so that I get an alarm like cheating. A week ahead of time, I think. Which
that
is
doesn't
funny.
work for me. If I alarm anything a week ahead of time, it's not getting done the next week.
No. I forget about it, but I alarm myself so I go, oh yeah, Ryan's birthday. And then I don't feel bad when I don't wish it to you on the day. Because I knew it was coming. I just forgot about it legitimately.
How do we get there? Well, I don't know why we're talking about my birthday at this point. Happy birthday, Matt.
Thanks. So no episode next week likely, but the newsletter should come out next week. There will be some
cool.
I will have my recommendation list of Christmas movies or holiday related films to check out. They will be you've heard a bunch of them, I'm sure.
I have strange imports.
I have rare exports.
Already talked about it.
Yep, and Annie and the Apocalypse, which I'm very excited to rewatch. It's one of my favorites.
Maybe this will be the year I finally do it.
Oh man, you gotta watch that with Evelyn. Man, she is going to, I think, flip for that movie. I think she'll love it.
It's a musical.
It's a musical.
Right? You told me so much about it.
It's a full musical. Right. It is.
Heck, maybe that's the show we do. I don't know.
It's got some gore to it. It's got a little bit to it, but it's totally like just the most. I'm going to talk about it more in the newsletter.
Okay. Yeah, and I might actually get you my from the desk of Ryan or whatever you call that segment where I actually write something for the letter there. But I have written something for the Patreon. If you've been there, there's a few posts from us. I think mine was mostly about what comic books we're reading for some of the companion shows coming up. So if you're curious what's on the list for the Shang-Chi, the Suicide Squad, or even the Hawkeye companion casts that we might eventually do, go to Patreon and throw something in the tip bucket for a quick look, or become one of those super patrons that gets mentioned on this here podcast, Book Club for Movies. Matt, do you have anything else you want to talk about for the rest of the show?
Actually I do.
Cool. Me too. Two shorties, kind of.
Yes. Okay. I have two short ones.
You've got two shorties too?
Yeah.
Two shorties versus two shorties. Go.
Okay. So as we know, our wives love movies where clothing is from a different century.
Said with the perfect amount of interest and derision.
Yes. So Beth and I had, as many of you viewers may recall, we did a show on Spider-Man movies. Yes. And in Spider-Man 2 Tobey Maguire edition, he goes to see MJ at her play, and she's doing a play of The Importance of Being Earnest. And Beth had never seen the movie or the show, and I actually am a huge fan of that show. I think it's a wonderful play, Oscar Wilde. So we watched the 2000 something Importance of Being Earnest. It's got
oh yeah,
Colin Firth,
I remember that,
and Rupert Everett, and early what's her name, election girl, I can't remember, Reese Witherspoon,
Hillary Clinton. Oh yeah,
that's yes, Hillary Clinton.
Did I say?
Yes.
I didn't really pay attention to that cycle.
If you don't know the story of The Importance of Being Earnest, I actually recommend just go watch the movie. It's a sweet adaptation. It's very like, it's heartwarming, and it's funny, and it's goofy, and it's a for a movie that, you know, takes place at the turn of the century kind of era. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's Oscar Wilde, and Oscar Wilde was very funny. It's a good adaptation.
Judi Dench
and Tom Wilkinson. Yes, that's right. Dame Judi Dench and Tom Wilkinson also excellent in the movie. This is pre-Dame, actually.
Oh, well, I was correct then.
She was just Judi Dench.
She's never been just Judi Dench.
Duty Dench. So
it was Hillary Clinton's VP, I think.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Mistaken.
If Candy has never seen that, get it for her. She'll love it.
Okay.
It's totally like, and
Christmas
actually,
finished.
and actually, you will. I think you'll enjoy it too, especially if you're. I don't know how familiar you are with Oscar Wilde's actually, like, his works and stuff, but
not much.
This one's great. Totally watch it. It's I recommend the movie, and then if you do enjoy the story, I can't recommend enough. Go find some of the stage productions or some of the other versions of it. It's a fun story. It's silly.
Yeah, Colin Firth, man. Stolen joke alert. Man can wear a sweater.
The man can't wear a sweater. He is great in this too. It's so much fun to see him younger, the younger version of him having fun, being the super posh guy. It's a great story. It's cool.
Instead of the older version of him trying to destroy a family.
Yes. The other
Paddington.
movie I want to mention.
No, wait. Was that Paddington? No, that wasn't. That was freaking the stupid.
He's in Paddington though, I think.
Yeah, but it was the Mary Poppins Returns or whatever that was. That's what that was.
The other movie I want to mention, and doing it briefly is going to be a disservice to it, but I'm going to mention it anyways.
I've got one of those too. No worries.
On Netflix right now, go watch Tick Tick Boom. It's the story of the guy who wrote Rent, starring Andrew Garfield, another musical.
Right.
I love musicals, obviously.
So wait, is Tick Tick Boom also a musical?
Yep, and Andrew Garfield sang all the songs. And boy, oh boy,
that's interesting.
The man can sing. The man can dance. The man's a talent. And so I want to preface this a little bit. I didn't know anything about Tick Tick Boom. I've seen Rent. I know about Rent.
I've paid it.
I'm aware of the tragedy behind Rent, in terms of the author, the
Sure.
So I knew all of that. But I didn't know anything about Tick Tick Boom. And a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, maybe 2, I don't know. There was a video floating around of Andrew Garfield on Colbert or something, where he talks about grief and he talks about his mother, and it was really powerful and it was beautiful. And he took this moment and he kind of has a little bit of a breakdown, and he talks about how he loves talking about this moment of grief and how he handles it. And I had very little interest in Andrew Garfield overall. Like he was fine. He was a fine actor. I didn't, but he's not somebody that I was going to follow in any respect.
Check out our Amazing Spider-Man podcast there.
Right.
We talk about him a little bit, but I think off camera, we talked more about how, as much as we thought he was okay in that, we've never really seen him in anything where we're like, that's why Andrew Garfield, like.
Right. Yeah. And I admittedly, I never saw Silence because I just have no interest in it, and I'm not.
That's the
Scorsese,
the war one. No, isn't that?
No, that's the Scorsese missionary one.
Oh, I'm thinking about Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes, which I also don't care about.
Yeah.
So I never watched either of those. I've heard that Garfield was great in Silence. I'm never going to watch it. I truly don't have any interest in it. But the whole point of this is that thing with Colbert really, it connected me to him in some way. And so I started looking stuff up, and at the same time, it's that I don't remember what the thing is, but I started seeing him, and of course it's popping up that, we did the Amazing Spider-Man, and then Tick Tick Boom started showing up everywhere. I just started seeing people talk about it left and right. And,
yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah.
And Beth was like, she just turned it on. And I was not in the mood for it. I wanted to watch it, but I was not in the mood for it. About 10 minutes into the movie, I was just jaw on the ground, like just dropped. Like I want to say it doesn't start off perfect. In fact, my first note is that the editing is not doing this movie justice. We're missing a lot of cool choreography. And I think that stands true for most of the movie. It's the one thing that I would actually, it's my biggest gripe is the editing throughout the film. There's a number of bits that are a little close to like you're dancing real near music video, like cuts and stuff. And it works because it's in music. It's for the songs, but I'm more interested in a bunch of these pieces and the choreography that they're clearly putting on and we're not getting to see. Like you can see them doing stuff, but we're getting like they're not pulling back. We're not getting like a full room. We're getting close-ups and we're getting tours and stuff like that. And it's so that's the one complaint I'll have. But the only other thing I want to mention really is that turn the freaking sound up for this, man. Crank that freaking sound system you have, whatever it is. The songs are awesome. And I feel the same way about Annie and the Apocalypse. I do. Crank them up. But Tick Tick Boom. So the cool thing about Tick Tick Boom is that it's a framing device. He wrote Tick Tick Boom as an actual thing and he performed it. And it's a real performance of him telling his story. Oh. And so this is using that. We're using the actual performance he did and telling the story of him.
Okay, that actually...
And it's brilliant. It is and we do at the end of the film, like you get some of those amazing, those great cuts where they filmed the original thing in like 1991. So the video's out there of Jonathan, I can't remember his last name, doing Tick Tick Boom, doing this show.
Jonathan Larson,
thank you. And everybody in this movie pulls out great performances, zero question. But Andrew Garfield, this was the moment for me. Like, this is the moment where he became somebody that I will likely give every opportunity to and follow for like forever, because I love me a good musical, and the earnestness he gives, the emotion he brings, especially in, emotional moments where if you don't know what Rent is about, understand Rent is very a down to earth story. And it deals with homelessness and AIDS during the epidemic and a lot of that stuff. And it's his life. And this movie and Tick Tick Boom tells the story of him learning about friends that are dying of AIDS or that are just got AIDS and have just found out. And then on top of that, trying to spend 5, 6, 7, 8 years of his life writing this play that he's so desperate to get off the ground, and he finally gets the opportunity, and Stephen Sondheim is actually like, hears the music and sees this and tells him he's got a shot, and he's told by literally everybody else, this play is never going anywhere. Do something else. And it's amazing. It's an amazing story. And I can't stress enough how beautiful and wonderful Andrew Garfield is in it. It's Tick Tick Boom. It's on Netflix. Go watch it.
Okay, I'm sold. Yeah, for the beginning, I thought it was about the making of Rent, more or less. So, and the way you're talking about it, it kind of is, but not specifically. But so it just sounded
not at all. So like,
but
Rent,
it's about the making of Rent, in that it's the making of Jonathan Larson before he made Rent. Type
100%. Yes. It's the story that feeds into his creation of Rent. Yes.
It just seemed funny that it was a musical based on the making of a musical. It seems strange, but then hearing you say that it's actually a musical based on, you're right. Brilliant. It sounds brilliant. I'll check it out.
It is. I sit down, watch it with Candy. I think Candy will probably like it too.
Well, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. I mean,
yeah. And I mean,
think she's going to like it.
And I don't know. Again, this is like, Evelyn might like it if she's into.
Oh yeah. She's sufficiently my wife. It's funny because my wife took her to Hamilton maybe a month ago in San Francisco. And I took her to Whose Line Is It Anyway in Arroyo Grande, which nobody's heard of it, but that's also indicative. So she's been sufficiently educated in both of the arts, you could say.
I think so. So she is about the same age as Daisy when Daisy saw Rent, and Daisy fell in love with Rent. Like
it's Hamilton. Yeah, it's all she ever listens to. It's all she ever talks about. It's all she's ever singing.
I think that Tick Tick Boom, and actually, again, I'm telling you, man, she is going to freaking Anna and the Apocalypse. The freaking music is so obnoxiously good.
Okay. So come back when we talk about any one of those things.
Yeah, what do you got?
And for what it's worth, I think you might have done that movie justice. I am not going to do my movies justice. I'll start with the
Riders of Justice.
Reverse. Oh. No, this might be in reverse chronological order, but I got a Tale of Two Pixars for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Luca, have you seen that?
I've not seen it, but I know like I'm familiar with the it coming out, and I saw trailers.
It's good enough. I haven't looked up any of its like what part of Pixar did it or what creative director or what any of that. It's got some Good Dinosaur vibes about it, which
okay.
If you've seen The Good Dinosaur, it's interesting. It's like the two sides of Pixar, right? Like on the one hand, they do films that are still always technically gorgeous and deal with, fun themes, but maybe don't bridge the gap between kid and adult as well as some of the other ones. And there are, in fact, now speaking, there are several Pixar movies kind of along that grade, you could say. It's not just, one or the other. So Luca seems to me more like kind of a Good Dinosaur type thing. It's good. The humor just seems a little easier than normal. The characters are still enjoyable. And this is another, I feel like at one point between Pixar and Disney, they'll take like an ethnicity, and which I love. I feel like they kind of did it with Moana.
And Coco.
Yeah, Coco is another example. Yeah, I feel like this is the Italian one of those. So that part is fun. And it's hard to say, like, I never get the feeling that any Pixar movie really isn't like somebody's baby. Like they all have vision, and I don't think Luca's any different. It's just that kind of like, what was the other one? Had Aquafina in it.
Oh, Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yes, thank you, actually. Yeah. Kind of like that one where it's good and enjoyable, but didn't deal with any of its themes in a way that I hadn't necessarily seen before, or again, bringing what I bring to it that I felt like I garnered a whole lot. It's like, I already got that figured out,
Yeah, I mean, I'm an adult. This kid's
Yes.
movie is too young for me.
Which is what I'm trying to avoid saying, because it certainly isn't that.
But let's be clear, okay? I think, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No.
I think the delineation you're trying to make is there definitely were, like, for as awful as a person as Lasseter is, you can't you cannot ignore Toy Stories 1 through 4, or 1 through 3, more like maybe.
Sure.
Monsters Inc., WALL-E, they're animated movies, but they're kind of geared towards kids, but they're written in such a way that they bridge that gap between kids and adults. Yeah. And I think that I agree with you. I feel like Pixar continues with that they allow whoever's creating the vision to be the visionary and to run it. I just think that some of those stories are just, they're just not, they don't have somebody that is maybe able to bridge that gap quite as well. Or maybe they're just not trying to. I don't know, but there's definitely
anything's possible. Movies are a machine, and these are huge. Yeah,
right.
No,
but there's an ebb and a flow for Pixar films for sure. It seems like
Yeah, I mean now there's so many. It's kind of like I said. There's so many along that spectrum. Was a better word. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
But yeah, Luca, I would just put somewhere around Raya. That would be a good, pretty apt example. And part of the reason for that, unfortunately for Luca, might be because I watched Soul first.
Dude, it's just sitting on my freaking queue. I need to watch it.
I should have been able to tell you all of the Pixars that Pete Docter has done up until Soul.
Pete Docter.
Because he did Monsters, Inc.,
yeah.
Up,
right.
And Inside Out is probably the one you're trying to...
That's the one I'm pulling from my brain.
Yes, and Soul is very much along the lines. Like you will see Soul and be like, oh, this is from the guy that did Inside Out. It's very much a in your head type thing.
So I'm going to cry.
Oh, man, if you don't. It'll be because you are just floored top to bottom, because you think you know what the movie is, and then it's so much is not. And not even in the way, like, Inside Out makes sense conceptually, right? It's kind of an easy thing to grasp, like all the different personalities in your head, and the comedy is like that thing writes itself just about, even though I'm sure it doesn't, and Pete Docter is a genius or whatever. But this one, like, just time after time, I'm like, I don't even know, like blown away at the same time I don't even know what's going on, in a way, and not in a confused can't follow it type of way, but just in a way that time after time, like, oh, this movie is actually about this, but then also the art, and then also it's the ultimate. It's one of those movies. It's the ultimate how, where how did
How did this get made?
How?
How did this not exist before? How am I seeing all this at once? How did somebody's brain do this? You know?
And then up till the very end where it makes a very not easy statement, like one that I'm still thinking about and doesn't fall into that trap of defining it too much, like having a spelled out moral by the end. Not that that's always a trap, but again, looking at something like Luca, where, and to be honest, I haven't finished Luca. I'm like 30 minutes from the end and I know what it's going to say, you know, like,
yeah.
Instead of that, it makes a fairly clear statement that I can kind of define and turn into a sentence. But then when I do, I'm still thinking about it. And something I never would have thought about before. Soul is maybe, and I always do this very soon after I've seen a movie, maybe one of my favorite Pixar movies. It's top 3 if I'm being safe, maybe. But so
love that.
Yeah, go check it out. The music is fantastic. It goes between 2 different worlds, and the art for like even the cartoon, like the real world where they're reproducing or they have an aesthetic or a style or whatever. That's gorgeous. But then also the abstract stuff is insane. Soul is amazing.
How's the music? Is the music good?
It's great. It's jazz. Like the story on its surface is about this jazz musician who has a dream of being. In fact, this is the whole. Let's hope I can do it real quick. His dream is to become that jazz musician, right? To play with a great, to make money at that type of job.
Yeah.
Which must be hard. In fact, I'm sure I'm bringing a lot to this movie, where we've very recently set out on me and you, Book Club for Movies, trying to do that for, make that a little bit more sustainable. I'm doing Ryan Runs, trying to make that a little bit more sustainable. Like by the end of that film, it kind of digs into what those dreams are, what they mean, what's their place. And it does it with some kind of abstract rules like Inside Out that has rules, like that universe exists. It's not just willy-nilly or they're going fully abstract or anything like that.
Yeah.
Even in the hall of abstraction or whatever that is when they have to pass through. You've seen Inside Out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It depressed the hell out of me.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you have seen it then. Confirmed. Yeah. Yes, inside my head, it's like depression, self-doubt. They're all working together, trying
misery, anger. Yeah, no, I
Stephen King is in there for some reason.
The happiness center is deep down, and it's very small.
It's in my stomach actually, which makes some amount of sense. So,
yeah, I think mine came out my butthole, and I lost it.
One of the characters in my brain is butthole.
It's just butthole.
We could write a Pixar. So just go see Soul. I'm not going to do it justice either. So how about that?
Well, we migrated from this wonderful movie to buttholes. So let's go.
Hey, it took us over an hour this time at least
to get to buttholes. Finally,
some kind of a record.
Great job, everybody. Patreon.com/buttholes.
So come back next week when it takes significantly less time, I'm sure, on Book Club for Movies, podcast at bookclubformovies.com. But again, go check out the Patreon if now you're tempted.
Buttholes for movies.
We'll see you next week.
Butthole!